in the small, sleepy village of Everbrook. Tucked between hills and thick forests, there stood a curious house at the edge of town. It wasn't large, and it didn't have a grand garden or impressive gates like the other houses. But what made it special was its door. The door was painted a bright, vibrant blue, with patterns of swirling gold and silver lines shaped like stars and moons. It wasn't like any other door in the village. No one knew who had painted it or why it was so different. But the villagers often whispered about it, wondering why such an unusual door was placed on a seemingly ordinary cottage. The house was owned by an old man named Elias, who lived alone. He had lived in Everbrook for as long as anyone could remember. And though he was kind and friendly to the villagers, he kept to himself mostly. The one thing everyone knew about Elias was that he never talked about the door. One sunny afternoon, as the birds sang their songs and the breeze whispered through the trees, a curious young girl named Sophie stood staring at the painted door. Sophie was known for her inquisitive nature, while others would pass by, glancing at the strange door with a mix of wonder and fear. Sophie couldn't help but feel drawn to it. One day, as she walked along the dirt path near Elias's house, she decided she would get closer and ask him about the door. She had questions, so many questions, but she didn't want to seem rude. After all, Elias was quite old, and maybe he didn't want to talk about it. Still, her curiosity tugged at her, and with a quick glance over her shoulder to make sure no one was around, Sophie approached the blue door. It stood tall, like a portal to another world. The patterns on it shimmered in the sunlight, and for a brief moment, Sophie thought she saw something move within the lines, like tiny stars blinking out of sight. It was strange and exciting. Sophie knocked 3 times, her heart racing. The sound echoed through the quiet air. After a moment, the door creaked open slowly, revealing Elias standing on the other side, a warm smile on his face. "Ah, Sophie, my dear," he said kindly. "What brings you here today?" Sophie's mouth went dry for a moment, but she quickly found her voice. "I was wondering about your door," she said, her eyes wide with curiosity. "Why is it painted like that? What does it mean?" Elias chuckled softly, his eyes twinkling. "Ah, the door," he said, his voice filled with nostalgia. "That door holds a secret, my dear. But it's not a secret that can be explained with words alone. You must see it for yourself." Sophie's eyes widened. "See it? How?" Elias looked at her thoughtfully for a moment, as though considering something. Then, with a slow nod, he opened the door wide and stepped aside. "Come inside," he said softly. "I'll show you." Sophie hesitated for only a second before stepping inside. The moment she crossed the threshold, she felt a rush of warmth, as if the air itself was filled with magic. The inside of Elias's cottage was not like any house she had ever seen. It wasn't big, but it was cozy, with soft light glowing from every corner. Strange trinkets and curiosities lined the walls, many of them shimmering with strange symbols. There was a large wooden table in the center of the room, covered with books, maps, and odd-looking instruments that Sophie couldn't quite place. But what caught her attention the most was the painting on the far wall. It was another door much like the one outside, but this one was covered in even more intricate patterns. The gold and silver swirled around the edges, and in the center of the door was a symbol she had never seen before: crescent moon and a star, intertwined in a glowing ring. Elias smiled as he watched Sophie study the painting. "That's the heart of the secret," he said. "That is the true door, the one you must open. But not yet, Sophie. Not until you are ready." Sophie turned to him, her eyes wide with wonder. What is behind it? What does it lead to? Ilias's smile softened. That, my dear, is a place beyond time and space. It's a world where dreams and reality are one. But it is a place that can only be entered by those who have learned to see with their hearts, not just their eyes. It's a world that chooses its travelers, not the other way around. Sophie's mind was racing. But how can I go? How do I know if I'm ready? Ilias's voice was gentle, but firm. The door will call to you when the time is right. You must trust your heart, Sophie. When you feel its pull, you will know. Until then, live your life with kindness and wonder. Let your heart grow strong, and the door will open for you. Sophie stared at the painting for a long time, feeling as though it was calling to her, whispering secrets just beyond her reach. She didn't fully understand what Elias meant, but she felt the excitement of something incredible just waiting to happen. As the day wore on, Elias gave Sophie a small, golden key. Keep this with you, Sophie. It's a reminder to always look beyond what you can see. Remember, the greatest treasures are not always visible to the eye, but are felt by the heart. Sophie thanked him and left the cottage, her mind spinning with thoughts of the door and the magical world beyond it. As she walked back to her home, she knew that something had shifted inside her. Something that would stay with her forever. And so, Sophie returned to her village, but now, whenever she looked at the painted door from the outside, she saw it differently. It was no longer just a strange, colorful door on an ordinary house. It was a gateway to something magical. A place of wonder, waiting to be discovered when the time was right. Though the door remained closed for now, Sophie carried the key in her pocket, her heart full of hope. She didn't know when or how it would happen, but she knew one thing for sure: the day would come when the door would open for her, and when it did, she would be ready.